Okay, so this is just going to be a quick video on converting units, how to do the calculations. So whenever we do the calculation, we want to use equalities that are written as 1. If I multiply anything times 1, I just get it back again. So for example, 1 mile is 1610 meters. So 1610 meters divided by 1 mile is equal to 1. And you're going to write that equality as a fraction, and the way up you want the fraction, so whether you want the meters over the miles or the miles over the meters, depends on how you want everything to cancel out. So for example, if I want to convert minutes to seconds, 1 minute is 60 seconds. So we know that 2 minutes, I'm going to take the 2 minutes multiplied by 1. So I'm going to write my ratio with the minutes in the denominator, so the 2 minutes and the 1 minute, those units cancel out. So if I do this numerically now, my minutes have canceled out. The units I have left is seconds. So 2 minutes times 60 seconds divided by 1 minute, I'm left with 120 seconds. So pause the video for a second, and before I do the solution, try and figure out, based on the fact that 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters, how would you convert 5 centimeters into inches? Okay, so let me do this. 5 centimeters, and I want to multiply it by a fraction so that the centimeters cancels out. So that means I need to put the centimeters in the denominator and the inches in top. Where do I put my numbers? Well, 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So I'm going to have 5. The centimeters cancel out. 5 times 1 divided by 2.54. And the units I have left is inches. So that's approximately a little bit less than 2 inches. I can't do that in my head exactly. You can do that on your calculator. Okay, what if I wanted to go the other way? So I want to convert 5 inches into centimeters. So pause the video again and figure out how would you write the fraction. Okay, so this time I want to get 5 inches. I want to convert that into centimeters. So I want to get rid of the inches. So I need to put the inches in the denominator. So that cancels out. And centimeters in the numerator. And again, so 2.54 goes with the centimeters. 1 goes with the inches. So numerically, I've got 5 times 2.54 centimeters. And that's about 12.5 centimeters, probably something like 12.7. So again, put that in your calculator to get the exact number. Okay, so let's move on to SI conversions. So again, these things that are marked in red are the abbreviations that you're expected to know. So if I put a micro, that you have 10 micrometers, I expect you to know on a test that micro means 10 to the minus 6. So you need to memorize those. Make yourself flashcards, whatever you need to do to memorize those. So let's do an example where we're going to convert micrometers to centimeters. So micro is 10 to the minus 6. Centi is 10 to the minus 2. So how many micrometers are there in 25 centimeters? So the two conversion factors I have is that 1 micrometer is 10 to the minus 6 meters, and 1 centimeter is 10 to the minus 2 meters. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to write down, so first I'm going to take my centimeters and turn it into meters. So 25 centimeters, I'm going to multiply by 10 to the minus 2 meters divided by 1 centimeter. So the centimeters cancel out. And I'm left with meters. Now I want to go 2 micrometers. I want to get rid of the meters. So I'm going to write the second conversion factor with meters in the denominator. So the meters cancel out. And micrometers is left on top. So I've got 25 times 10 to the minus 2 divided by 10 to the minus 6. And if you put that in your calculator, you get that 25 centimeters is 2.5 times 10 to the 5 micrometers. Okay, so pause for a second. Let's try and convert 5 centimeters to kilometers. So pause do the exercise yourself, and then I will come back and do it for you. Okay, so I've got 5 centimeters, and I want to put it into kilometers. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go get rid of the centimeters and go to meters, and then I have to turn the meters into kilometers. So I want the meters on the bottom and kilometers on top. So then meters cancel, centimeters cancel, and I'm left with kilometers. All right, so what are our conversion factors? Well, 1 centimeter is 10 to the minus 2 meters, and 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. Okay, so I've got 5 times 10 to the minus 2 divided by 1,000, or 10 to the 3. So I get 5 times 10 to the minus 5 kilometers. And you should have some idea in your head about whether you expect it to be a big number or a small number. So how big is a centimeter? A centimeter is about the width of your pinky finger. So if you have 5 centimeters, how much of a kilometer would that be? Remember, a kilometer is something akin to a mile. So it's not going to be very big fraction of a mile in 5 widths of your pinky finger, right? So you expect to get a small number, and we do. All right, how about converting areas and volumes? Well, remember, for area is length times width, so that's going to be a distance squared, and volume is length times width times height, so that's going to be units cubed. So remember, if you square a unit or you cube a unit, you also have to square or cube the conversion factor. So make sure you study this. There'll definitely be a problem like this that you come up with on the homework and the tests. So for example, if you've got a 2-liter soda bottle, okay, so a liter is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 10 centimeter cubed, so that's 1,000 centimeters cubed. So how many cubic inches are there in a 2-liter bottle of soda? So we know that 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters, and 1 liter is 1,000 centimeters cubed. So how are we going to do the calculation? All right, so we've got 2.0 liters, and I need to go to cubic inches. All right, so first I can go from liters to centimeters cubed. Okay, so that's going to get rid of the liters. So there's 1,000 centimeters cubed in 1 liter. Okay, so that's going to be 2 liters is 2,000 cubic centimeters. Okay, so now I got to get that 2,000 cubic centimeters. I got to turn that into cubic inches. All right, so I've got 2,000 centimeters cubed, and I want to go to inches cubed. All right, so I know the conversion factor from centimeters to inches, and I know I want to get the centimeters in the denominator to get rid of it, and I want the inches on top because I want to go to inches. So 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So if I do it just like this, all it's going to do is it's going to get rid of one of my centimeters, right? So I'm going to have centimeters cubed divided by centimeters is going to be centimeters squared times inches. I have to get rid of 3 factors, centimeters times centimeters times centimeters. So that means I need to cube my conversion factor. Okay, so it's going to be 2,000 divided by 2.54 cubed, and that's 122 cubic inches. So again, remember, if you're doing volume or area, you need to cube or square the conversion factor. Okay, so here's another multi-step conversion example before I let you go. So how many hours are there in 5.5 weeks? All right, so what do we know? We know that there's 7 days in a week. And we know that there's 24 hours in a day. So if I want to go from 5.5 weeks to hours, I'm going to have to do 2 conversion steps. So I'm going to go from week to days, and I'm going to go from days to hours. All right, why did I write it this way? I want to get rid of weeks, so I put the weeks in the denominator. I want to get rid of days. Okay, so that then if my units all cancel out, I'm left with hours. And again, I encourage you to write it out like this just to make sure that your units are canceling out. All right, so I've got 7 days, goes with 1 week, and 24 hours goes with 1 day. So what am I left with? 5.5 times 7 times 24, and that gives me 924 hours in 5.5 weeks. Okay, so that was a few examples. So now go on and do the little calculation problem and upload your answer onto Canvas for grading.